This morning on Inside Texas Politics, Chairman of the powerful House Rules Committee, Republican Congressman Pete Sessions. He's in studio with us. We'll talk about his re-election and talk to his Tea Party-backed challenger, Katrina Pierso, endorsed by a powerful PAC and popular conservatives. Also, a new poll suggests that Senator Ted Cruz's star power is now fading. We'll ask what happened. Plus, picking apart the Texas law that's keeping a pregnant Fort Worth woman alive. And a Tea Party-backed African-American from Frisco says he wants Joe Straus's job as Speaker. Good morning and welcome to Inside Texas Politics. I'm Jason Whiteley. We have a lot of elements to get to this morning, but we begin with Congressman Pete Sessions in studio with us this morning. And joining in the questioning is Bud Kennedy, columnist with the Fort Worth Star-Telegram. Good morning, guys.
Hi, Pete.
Morning.
Hi, Jason.
Thanks for being down here with us, Congressman. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
You're very conservative. You just got an endorsement from the NRA. Why in the world do you think you drew an opponent from the right?
I don't think there's any question that everybody recognizes that people are frustrated with the events in Washington, D.C. have been. They're scared and they're worried. How you go about then fixing those problems has been what I have been a part of, and a lot of people want answers quicker and faster. I was chairman of the National Republican Congressional Committee. Stated from the beginning I would go and we would replace Nancy Pelosi, and secondly, we do something about spending. Just yesterday, we passed a bill that takes us back to 2008 levels of spending in 2014. I think we've proven ourselves, but there's still people who want more.
Well, let me follow up with that, too. Freedom Works has endorsed Katrina Pierso. Ted Cruz hasn't come out and done it, but his father has as well, too. What do you think you're not doing, though, that might appeal to those conservatives?
Well, I think it's important to note that our party is attracting a good number of new people, as we did in '94. I was a part of that crowd. And we're attracting people who are brand new to politics, and they want to have a direct impact. And the best way, starting out when the health care bill was passed, there were thousands of people at the Capitol that day. And we went out and met with them and talked with them. It's turned into activism, and they're welcome in our party, and we like having them.
Pete, you talked about people want something done. One area where people want something done is immigration. Now we're hearing something may not get done until maybe 2016, after the primary, sometime before the general. Texas Republicans have a platform. The Republicans in Texas have said that they support a guest worker plan. Newspapers have called for moving ahead with permanent residency without discussing citizenship. What does it take to get immigration moving?
I think it's important to note that probably as we're speaking, Speaker Boehner and his team are announcing exactly what you have asked for, and that is a step-by-step process to move forward. We have to worry about the millions of people who come in our country and leave in inflow and exit programs. We have to worry about many things, but I believe that a guest worker plan is something that the United States House of Representatives can and will pass this year. We forget the amnesty. We are not going to give credence or precedent to people to come to this country illegal and give them citizenship. But we have to deal with the issue. Republicans have the ability, and we've had a working group for a long time, and we're prepared to move forward as a team to get that done.
Well, let me follow up something. A blogger, put whatever weight you want into in this, but a blogger recently questioned your residency. And we did a quick check on Dallas CAD and Collin County CAD to see if you owned any property, you or your wife Karen owned any property in either county, and didn't find anything. What do you say to those folks who question your residency? Whether you own property here and whether you pay taxes here locally?
Thank you very much. I've lived in Dallas since 1989. As you know and I know, I had a divorce of 27 years. And as a result of that, I have not rebought property here. And I live here. This is where I am, active. You see in my tweet that comes out of my office on a regular basis, the activities that I do in Dallas. I live here. This is where I live. This is where I get business done. And I guess you can kind of expect this from an opponent.
So you're a renter here?
In fact, I do have an apartment.
Okay. One of the big differences between you and your opponent is the vision of America's role in the world. She says she doesn't want America to do any more nation building. How do you feel about America's role in the world and defense in Afghanistan?
Well, it is important to note that the reason why we are in Afghanistan and were in Iraq is not just because we were attacked, but because they represent a threat against the United States of America and our interests. No Republican is for nation building. We are for going over, fighting wars, and getting the heck out. We do not want to stay for long periods of time. And what we're going to do is exactly that. We are going to go and get our job done and get back home. This is an important part of the budget also. We have not budgeted for wars. We are not budgeting ourselves to do that. We're budgeting for the current conflict, but not nation building.
Congressman, we have 60 seconds left here, too. I last spoke to you outside your office in D.C. during the shutdown. Do you think the shutdown is going to hurt the GOP this election year at all?
I think that the American people will judge what we did because it had to be done to show them we did everything we could to stop what was getting ready to happen. And I'm proud that we now have proven that Obamacare is a job killer. You can't keep your own doctor or your own insurance, and it's a bad deal, and we've got to repeal it.
And final seconds, have you guys given up on repealing it? Because it certainly looks like that.
No, it wouldn't look that way at all. We have not given up on repealing it, but you have to have the Senate. And that was the one thing that many people back home learned. You have to have the Senate. We passed it overwhelmingly in the House. Let's get the Senate this November.
Congressman, thanks for being here, sir. Good luck to you, sir.
You bet.
Thank you, Pete.
And swapping seats in our studio right now is Congressman Sessions' challenger, Tea Party activist Katrina Pierso. Katrina, good morning to you, ma'am.
Good morning. Thank you.
Thanks for being here. Let's start with this. You admitted earlier this month that your candidacy is an uphill battle. That's what you told the Dallas Morning News.
It is.
What is your path to victory on this? This is an incumbent congressman who clearly has a system set up.
Well, you know, I think the tale is in the story. We have a very solid grassroots team. We had over 200 volunteers, 17 area coordinators, 50 block walkers who are out every single day in the district working hard.
Freedom Works supports you.
Yes.
But I read that it has not given you any money.
Not yet. None of the PACs have actually given out money yet.
Why not? As hard as you worked for Freedom Works and to get Ted Cruz elected, why not?
Well, it's coming. And if you look at the recent article in The Hill from Matt Keevy, you'll see that. And we're very excited. Since they've endorsed, we can't talk to them and coordinate that way, so I couldn't really give you an answer as to what's going on there. But we've also been endorsed by ShePAC. We've been endorsed by Rafael Cruz. We're being supported by prominent conservatives all over the country.
So you're expecting money from Freedom Works and other PACs?
Katrina, you've said in the questionnaires that the federal government shouldn't be involved in health care, shouldn't be involved in education,
yes,
shouldn't be involved in developing alternative energy. I mean, what do you think the federal government should do?
Well, I think that's sort of outlined in the Constitution, to be quite frank with you. And I think it's interesting, if you look at all the areas where government did involve itself, we're actually doing worse today than we were, in decades ago. But I will also say that if we can take this constitutional approach, I mean, we are now spending hundreds of billions of dollars in all these areas, and we're not really getting anywhere.
So no Department of Education? We don't get anything from the Department of Education?
Well, what have we gotten since the Department of Education? If we look at the 70s, when the Department of Education was implemented, we are not seeing the innovation and creativity in our people today. Steve Jobs, did he come out of the Department of Education? Absolutely not. All of our innovators came prior to the Department of Education. I think we could point to maybe the Facebook CEO, but guess what? He was private schooled. Yeah. He did not come out of the Department of Education. And if we look at the way we're teaching our kids, everything has changed. We are teaching our kids in an industrial, linear fashion in black and white. Studies show, and I've been in healthcare for 12 years, a neuroscience administrator at a level 1 trauma facility. Children do not think in straight lines or in black and white. They think in curves and colors.
But you want to be in Congress and not be involved in that?
No, absolutely. I want to get the education out of it. I want to get the federal government out of education. What we can do is put states on notice. We're shrinking the Department of Education so that states can then come in and put into place what was in place before, which is parent-teacher control.
And besides education, what else specifically would priorities be for you if elected?
Well, one of the biggest priorities of mine is what actually is happening this week with the NSA. I've been a commentator frequently on Fox News every month talking about privacy and encroachment of government into private lives, and I want to help get back to and restore the foundation of our country.
What do you do? I mean, you abolish the NSA?
Well, I think you definitely scale it back, that's for sure. I mean, when you have the DOJ labeling journalists as enemies of the state, and when you have the IRS out there encroaching and oppressing the vote based upon your political affiliation, I think it's fair to say that the departments and agencies in this country are extremely overstepping their boundaries.
Katrina, when you came to the forefront in 2009, Pete Sessions was in Congress, you came out and you said in your first speech, you said, if I had my way, Texas would close the borders and secede as a nation. What did you mean, and do you really want to lead America or leave America?
Well, no, I think it's a fair question, and figuratively speaking, I think a lot of Texans felt that way, simply because we feel like
Did you
everyone
feel that way?
Feel it what way?
Did you feel that way, that you wanted to secede?
Figuratively, yes. We really just want to be left alone, and most Texans feel that way because everybody's trying to tell us what to do, what to think, what we can and can't say, what we can and can't eat. We simply just want to be left alone. Many people were saying that figuratively, and I know this is politics and everyone wants to hang on every single word, and I get that. But the reality is that's not going to happen. But what we can do is go to Congress and fix it so that Americans can truly be free, because right now we are living under the illusion of freedom.
We have about 60 seconds left here. I first met you 2 years ago when you were campaigning hard for Ted Cruz. You mentioned a moment ago and got some press play also that his father, Rafael Cruz, endorsed you, but not the senator. Are you disappointed at all about that, considering how hard you worked for him?
Absolutely not. The senator was just in town last weekend and stood from a stage in front of thousands of people just how committed I am to being a solid fighter for conservative principles, and I'm very pleased with that.
Is that an endorsement, do you think?
I think it was a nod, and I appreciate that. I would never ask the senator to overstep his boundaries as well.
Last 30 seconds here. Immigration, minimum wage. Where are you on both of those?
I don't think we should be determining minimum wage. We see as minimum wage goes up, we cause more unemployment simply because we shouldn't be paying people who aren't qualified to do high-paying jobs. And immigration, 100% against amnesty. I think that
Guest worker?
I do support a guest worker program, but I do not support legalization.
Terrific. Katrina, thank you so much for being here, and good luck to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.